Well, hello, my loves. It's Jen Harris once more, yet again, and still with your 10-minute take. I know I haven't done one of these in a minute, but some things have come across my desk, and as always, I have something to say. If you are noticing where my shirt came from, it is actually from the blog I run, The Ideal Fire Starter. A fire starter is the following. One, that brings light, heat, and smoke. Two, that exudes melanin magnificence. And the last is a mix of righteousness and ratchet. Thank you to the fabulous Misha Davis, who runs the business. Sincerely, these hands, for making my shirt. But the one thing I want to talk to you all about today is Pose. Now, those of you who follow me on social media, especially the site I Breathe Fire, know I am a fan of the show Pose. I am a stan of the show Pose. And from that fandom, I am a cishet girl. I wake up every day since I have been a smaller fire starter, completely female. Mind, body, heart, attraction. I love men. I'm like Mae West. I like two types of men, domestic and imported. So with that being done and said, I am a fan of this show. And the thing that drew me to the show was actually the writing. And I talk about this on the blog, not on my on the blog I Breathe Fire, and as well on my podcast, The Writer's Block. The thing is, what has come across my desk is the fact that only Billy Porter, whom is amazing, he's the only cast member who's been nominated for something for this year's Emmys. And it makes me think, did we all watch the same show? Did we all watch the same show? Was I the only one crying when Candy was murdered? Was I the only one crying when Blanca had to tell her kids that she was positive? Was I the only one that had to wipe my face from laughing when Damon had to bust portrayal and them out for being together and hunching, as Funky Dineva said? Am I the only one that was paying attention? Had to be. The thing about writing is this. It is a vehicle by which we explore the world. It's a vehicle by which I call writing a social muscle. It's able to flex and carry things that we may not be able to quite voice just yet. It lets us explore things that are funny, things that are scary, things that may or may not be taboo in certain conversations, or as my mama would say, in mixed company. But you have to understand that writing is big enough to hold everybody. Writing is big enough that everybody can get a chance to shine. It doesn't have to just be. Writing does not have to always have a cishet white male narrative. One of the reasons why more minority writers are needed is to begin to dismantle the white savior complex. It doesn't always have to be white folks coming and saving the day, because that's not always so. History has proven that, right? So the fact that Pose has even garnered this much attention, bringing the marvelous trans actors into the limelight, because again, it's not just Laverne Cox. As much as I love her, it's not just Laverne Cox who is an actress. It's not just her. I completely was standing Angelica Ross, because she gave me everything I needed for Candy. I was standing the House of Ferocity for a hot second. I truly was. I was totally engrossed in Damon really going after his dream of being a dancer. I was engrossed. I am engrossed. And I am too mad that COVID has come in and messed up season 3. Because again, I really believe for the talent that they have and the depth of writing that is clearly present on the show, I believe Pose can do 5 seasons. I truly do. I think that Ryan Murphy has done a righteous act in making this show accessible. I think that the combination of having Jenny Livingston, who actually was the director and tour de force behind Paris is Burning, which I think may still be on Netflix. If you have not seen it, you need to watch it. And if you have not seen Pose, you need to watch it. You need to watch. I cannot Stress it enough. It will snatch you by your edges and keep you. It is amazing. But the one thing that is so glaring, and Jen Baker and I talk about this on the podcast, Jen Baker being the tour de force behind the podcast Minorities in Publishing, she actually, when we're talking about representation, when talking about diversity, I told her it seems that these are buzzwords. And what Jen said, which I thought was incredible, because she actually works in publishing, what she said is that in order for this to truly be equitable, those at the top with power have to begin to dismantle this as well. You can't just have token minority writers anymore. That doesn't work like that. You have to have your finger on the pulse of the community by which you say you're serving. There are more stories to be told other than just cis-het white men. There are queer black women, queer black men who are writing stories as well. More cis-het black women need to be discovered as well. More indie authors need to be discovered as well. And what she said is, it almost feels like that it is a quota, because if we just have just enough of these types of people, then that'll be enough. And Jen said it almost does not feel as though the work is enough. And this is what I mean by that. It cannot just be people who are so close to the forest they can't see the trees. This is what I mean by that. In order for all of us to get some of this sun, in order for all of us to truly experience the true spectrum of diversity that is in writing, which is in the arts, you have to make room for other people. You have to make room for people who don't necessarily look like you, believe like you, love like you. You have to let them in too. You have to let them in too. And there is a portion of writing that is gatekeeping. It is. There's a portion of publishing that is gatekeeping, because if this particular editor doesn't like your stuff, they won't let you in. Case in point, Stephen Barnes, who is married to the amazing Tananarive Due, shouts to them because it's their, I think, 25th wedding anniversary today. But he talked about submitting stories to this particular anthology. He did not mention the name, neither the anthology or the editor who kept him out, who happened to be white. He said that, he would submit. He would always get these rejection letters. And then this editor who kept him out, he came to find out, he kept him out. And then the associate editors under him said, hey, we thought your work was amazing. It was him that didn't. And because you were black writing it, he didn't want to publish it. So you still run into those things as well, which is why it is important for minority creatives to have their own platforms and own their own platforms. So the fact that Pose got snubbed for the trans actors on for the trans actors on Pose to be snubbed the second year in a row proves that we are not as far as we think that we are. I believe Laverne Cox has been nominated like 3 and 4 times for her role as Sophia on Orange is the New Black. Hasn't won yet. I don't understand what show we're watching. The fact is, racism is still a factor, even in the arts, even in a place where you would think that it would not necessarily exist in. There's still work to be done, and it is an injustice that the actors on Pose did not get nominated. Because again, I don't understand what show we were watching. Those are shorts, not panties. But you have to understand that this is unfair. It is unfair. I cannot fathom for the life of me how MJ Rodriguez didn't get nominated for something. I don't understand how India Moore didn't get nominated for something. I don't understand how Angelica Ross did not get nominated for something. I don't understand. Help me to understand. Help me to understand. Because there are certain things on the show that Billy Porter does, but Billy Porter is not in a vacuum. Casts work together. It's the magic they all bring together that makes a show amazing. He does not carry the show. I love Billy Porter, but he don't carry the show. I said what I said. But take this in mind, dear ones. Continue to write. Don't let this stop you. There is the advent of YouTube, of iMovie, of SoundCloud. There are other places to produce your work and have other people see it. As many people whom have gotten discovered on this app, through this platform, you can do the same thing. One of those people is Issa Rae. She did Awkward Black Girl on YouTube, and then here we are. Because she believed in herself enough to say, hey, I have something to say and I'm going to say it. And with that said, I leave you with that same dynamic declaration. You clearly have something to say. So say it. Write it down. Make it happen. Put yourself in the room. Okay? Put yourself in the room because it's time. It's time. So here is to pose season 3, and whoever's in the governing of these rooms where awards are decided need to get the head out there. So here's to season 3 with equitable nominations. Turn Up, Pose, and Black Trans Women Matter.